A few months ago, I reviewed the Altec Lansing Mini Life Jacket 3 and I came away very unimpressed, but I still gave it a participation award. But I still decided to give the Altec Lansing Versa smart speaker a try. Although they were aiming for something great, I feel their execution was pretty sloppy. There are some things that I like about the Versa, but there are just some other things that just fall flat. A lot of manufacturers are starting to incorporate voice assistants into their speakers whether you need it or not, and the Altec Lansing Versa is a rugged Alexa-enabled smart speaker which will better suit people who are heavily invested into the Amazon Alexa ecosystem and if you use one of the 3 supported streaming services, Spotify, Deezer, or Napster. And if you want to pick the speaker up or any of the other speakers showed off in this video, I'll have links in the description below. Check them out because you never know when they're on sale. As Altec Lansing puts it, the Versa is everything proof. It's IP67 rated, so it's both water and dust resistant, and it also floats. The outer board of the speaker is made up of 2 rubber layers that also make the speaker shockproof. But unfortunately, the metal faces on the speaker get scratched very easily. So if you take the speaker out with you on hikes on a regular basis, it's eventually going to show a lot of wear and tear. And since we're on the topic of taking the speaker out with you on a regular basis, although the triangular design of the speaker looks good at home, and I like how the faceplates play with lighting, this speaker isn't the easiest to travel with. It's big, it's an odd shape, and there's no built-in carrying handle or somewhere to attach a clip. Okay, now let's talk about buttons and ports. Like a lot of other smart speakers on the market, the Altec Lansing Versa doesn't have an aux jack, which to me is a little silly, but it does charge via a micro USB port. On the side of the speaker, there's your power button, a Bluetooth button, and a star button that is actually used as a mic mute button when the speaker is in Wi-Fi mode, and you can cycle through LED lighting modes if you're using the speaker in Bluetooth mode. And on top of the speaker, you also have your volume buttons and a mic button so you can manually activate your voice assistant. Obviously, if you press the plus or minus button, you'll adjust your volume, but if you want to skip a track, you have to press and hold the plus button, and if you want to go back a track, you have to press and hold the minus button. And in order to play or pause your music, you have to press the power button, which is a little odd. Now, one of the things I do like about the Versa is how easy it is to switch between Bluetooth and Wi-Fi mode, which oddly enough was a problem for the UE Mega Blast and Blast, which are also Alexa-enabled smart speakers that cost way more than the Versa. But actually connecting the Versa to your Alexa account requires downloading 3 apps and is a hair-pulling process. It took me multiple times to get it right, which wasn't the case with the UE Blast or Mega Blast or any of the other Google Assistant-enabled smart speakers I've had. And the Versa can only connect to 2.4 GHz networks. And unfortunately, the microphones on the Versa don't do a good job of picking up your voice. I find myself having to speak up and enunciate a lot more so that the Versa will hear me compared to other smart speakers. But if your voice assistant decides to cooperate, you can ask it questions, control your smart home, and if you're signed into one of the supported streaming services, Spotify, Deezer, or Napster, you'll be able to control your music playback just by asking. Alexa, turn on the studio lights.
Okay.
Alexa, change the studio lights to blue.
Okay.
Alexa, what's the current price of Bitcoin?
1 Bitcoin is worth $11,003.
Alexa, what's the current price of Ethereum?
1 Ethereum is worth $1,043.
Now let's talk about tech specs. While in Bluetooth mode, the Versa can only be connected to 1 device at a time, and it has a wireless range of 30 feet with direct line of sight. But unfortunately, placing one wall between the Versa and your phone will cause the signal to stutter. Altec Lansing claims a battery life of 8 hours, but it's really more like 5 hours. And a 5-hour battery life is way below average for speakers in this price range. And when it comes to speaker setup, the Versa is rocking a single 2-inch diameter woofer and an 85 by 45 millimeter passive radiator. Honestly, I feel the Altec Lansing Versa sounds pretty bad for its speaker and its price range. My biggest problem with it is that vocalists sound very nasally. The soundstage is very narrow and instrument separation is pretty weak, so everything just sounds like it's on the same plane. The passive radiator on this speaker does give it a good amount of bass, but it will very easily overpower the rest of the song, or you just get a lot of reverb in the background. The Versa does get loud, but sound quality takes a huge hit at those higher volumes. And I'm making a big deal about this because just because the Altec Lansing Versa is a rugged speaker, it doesn't mean it can't sound good. Take for example the Bose SoundLink Micro. This is another rugged speaker that can take everything the Versa can take, and it sounds surprisingly good for its size, and it also does this while using smaller hardware. Now, you can adjust the EQ on the Versa and it does help a bit, but there's only so much EQ settings can do on so-so hardware. But in order for the EQ settings to be active on the Versa, you need to have the Versa Navigator app open and streaming your music through that. But if you don't have the app open, then your EQ settings go back to default. The EQ settings aren't stored into the speaker's firmware. At the end of the day, I wouldn't recommend picking up the Altec Lansing Versa. It doesn't sound as good as other speakers at the same or below its price range, and using your voice assistant on the speaker isn't as easy as other smart speakers. The microphones don't do as good of a job of picking up your voice, and you're going to find yourself repeating your commands on a regular basis. Battery life on this speaker is also below average given the speaker's price range and its sheer size. And then there's the triangular shape of the speaker. For a rugged speaker that I assume a lot of people would like to take on the go, it's kind of hard to take the speaker on the go. If you're looking for a small rugged speaker, I highly recommend the Bose SoundLink Micro or the JBL Flip 4. Hey, if you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. It helps out more than you realize. For more product reviews and deal alerts, check out jimcaddy.net. If you want to support the channel, pick up a shirt, and I'll catch you next time.